What's up, gang? Welcome back to the Nightmare Room. I am your host, Nick Nightmare. I want to thank you for tuning back in. Thank you for listening once again. The Nightmare Room, our special weekly YouTube-only show where you can watch some entertaining little photos go by as I speak the truth about professional wrestling. However, there's something going on YouTube lately. There's some kinds of new rules to the terms and services and stuff like that, and I don't know what I'm allowed to use anymore, what I can get in trouble for. So, if I have to use music, I gotta make my own music now. Any little thing you do can have your videos pulled from YouTube because you don't have the permission to use said picture or blah blah blah. And I'm gonna continue to do this until somebody tries to stop me. So, since I'm very unclear about the rules as it is, I'm just going to use anything I find from Google, because I believe that kind of entails a public domain. And there's a little bit of technical information for you guys, just so that you know what's going on in my little YouTube realm over here. And so, there might not be that many pictures. I'm throwing up a few. Just be patient. Just listen. Listen to my voice, because that's the most important part of this podcast. The best podcast that the world has not heard yet, aside from the few lucky sledgeheads that I have in my sledgehead army. And the rest of these guys are just hammerheads, because they ain't listening yet. They're not hitting subscribe. They're not hitting like on the YouTube page. They're not helping us gain any money to make this a better show for everybody, including myself. So, with that being said, let's get to what I want to complain about this week. Backlash coming up. By the time you guys hear this, it's probably going to be over. I got a late start on everything because I've been kind of sick this week and I couldn't really get my preview up in time, but here I am Sunday afternoon and I'm recording it. By the time I render it and put it up, it's probably going to be sometime after the pay-per-view, and I do apologize for that, but you cannot control your body and the germs that it takes in. So, that being said, here we go. Backlash. There's only 5 matches that were announced for Backlash, and at this very moment, I can't even remember any of them, with the exception of the WWE title match, Dean Ambrose and AJ Styles, which I'm looking forward to seeing, and I hope that they really go out there and put on a world title caliber match, because I believe both of these guys can do so. And then we have the final 2 rounds of the WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championships. And then we have the Women's Six-Pack Challenge for the SmackDown Women's title. Other than that, I think it was, Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton, which, as from what I've been hearing, might not be on the card now because Randy's still pretty busted up from Brock. And depending on what his future holds, they might not want him to be injured further. I do know that he's supposedly going to be taking some time off because his wife is pregnant. So we may see him still fight and take another bad injury from Bray Wyatt tonight and then disappear into the night and go raise his family for a little while and come back when he's ready. That's all unconfirmed except for the pregnancy. Obviously she's pregnant and she's about to pop, so apparently he's supposed to be going away. But none of that is confirmed for sure. But there is a good possibility that this match is not going to happen. And if it does, I say what for? It doesn't make sense that these guys are even fighting. It's just Bray Wyatt doing his Bray Wyatt thing to Randy Orton instead of to Jericho or to anybody else he's done. But there's really nothing behind it. There's no meat to the issue. It's just a random, I choose you, Pokemon, and I'm going to capture Randy Orton and take his soul and yap, all the things Bray Wyatt says. I love Bray Wyatt. He's one of my favorite guys, but there's another one being completely wasted. His talent is tremendous. It oozes off his body, his charisma, his delivery, everything about Bray Wyatt is amazing, except his creative direction that he's given by these clowns over there in WWE Creative. These hammerheads over there have no idea what to do with people, and this has been never more evident than if you happen to have watched Holy Foley, and you see the episode where Dewey Foley, Mick's son, gets a job in the writing staff of WWE Creative, and then you see what these people look like, you will totally understand why we are getting the garbage we are getting out of TV. You're looking at 20 something year old people who probably have a degree of some type in storytelling or creative writing, but nothing can be applied to wrestling from these people. That's why we're not getting wrestling storylines. They're trying to write by the book. And in wrestling, you don't write by the book. You are the book. You create everything from scratch. You don't have to just follow the same formula every week. Well, it's TV, so we have to do this, and we have to have 9 commercials before we get to the first hour break, and then we have to have 9 commercials in the middle of the main event match. So let's just put a whole bunch of cool, interviews and backstage segments and blah blah blah, and we'll make every match just 2 minutes because the wrestlers don't matter. They're gonna go out and wrestle, and these people are gonna come anyway. So let's just flood everything with drama and bad writing and blah blah blah. So if you see these people on the show, you'll totally understand. I have a little bit of faith maybe that Dewey Foley, who has it in his blood to be a creative person, his father is a multi-time best-selling author on the New York Times bestseller list. So obviously it's not just limited to wrestling, which Noelle Foley is going to take that reign, and we'll see where that ends up. But Dewey's gotta be a creative guy, just considering where he comes from. And if you see the family he lives in, there's no way I disagree with him at all. This guy wanted out of this house. I need to go get my own job, do this thing. You guys are crazy. It's very entertaining to watch. It's a little awkward. It's a little weird, but it's very funny. And when I got to see that segment of him in the writer's room, and this one guy got so excited to see Mick Foley that he asked him to autograph his figure. You work for the WWE, jerk off. How have you not met Mick Foley? How are you a member of the creative writing team of the WWE and you have not met Mick Foley? You are writing material for Mick Foley on a daily basis now that he is the GM of Raw, and you don't even know who he is. You've never met him. You have never spoken to him at all about anything he wants to do, maybe what his ideas might be, what he could do as the GM, what the company's really thinking of. No, we're just looking at a bunch of nobodies, a bunch of dopey, nerdy-looking people, and, I mean no disrespect, but when I saw the creative writing staff, I expected a much more mature bunch of people, and I don't know why I did, because now it all makes perfect sense. And it's things like this, which is the reason why I believe superstars like Cesaro and Paige want out. They just don't get the creative angle. Now, everybody's proclaiming Paige is leaving because of Del Rio and that whole triangle between the company and Paige and Del Rio, which is just dissolved and exploded. Nuclear explosion. That now we're going to lose Paige. She has hired lawyers to explore her options. Paige is under contract till 2019. That's 3.5 long years from now that she is binded to the WWE, and she's trying to find a way out. I can only hope that it's not because of Alberto Del Rio. Because if there's one thing in this world that I want to teach my daughter, and that I would hope that any woman out there would feel this way, is do not let a man determine your value or stray you from a path of success. That is my biggest thing that I want to put to my own flesh and blood. That is my mission in life, that you be successful on your own and love will come. You will find love. You don't have to go looking for love. It's just going to come. And if you are happy inside as a person, and you are content in your career, and you have a lot of money in the bank, and you're this beautiful, independent, intelligent female who is talented beyond belief in the world of pro wrestling as Paige is, you don't need Alberto Del Rio. You're 24 years old. This guy is old enough to be your old man almost. You don't have to do this. You should let him go do his thing, whatever he wants to do. Sit down with WWE Creative and hash it out. Tell him the real reason if it's not because of Alberto Del Rio. Tell him you're pissed that you got pushed out of the Divas movement. Tell him you're pissed that you feel you should be the anchor for this whole thing and that Charlotte and the rest of them should be coming after you because you really did start the whole thing. NXT, this whole women's revolution started back when Paige was only 20 years old, back in NXT, when she was tearing the house down with, of all people, Emma. Emma. If you don't believe me and you have the network, go back and watch the beginning of NXT, because Paige and Emma in NXT was the spark that ignited the flame that would eventually become this towering inferno of a woman's revolution that Stephanie McMahon likes to constantly tout, even though the revolution has already happened and now we're just kind of there. Like, the revolution's over. This is the way it is, and we'll respect women's wrestling now, and this is the way we've always wanted it. So, enough. Enough. But Paige was the beginning, and now, much like Natalya, she is an afterthought. And then all the added drama with Del Rio did not help. So, in fact, it hurt even more than anything else. More than her injury, more than her suspension. If she would just dump this guy, WWE would be happier than a pig in shit. But it doesn't look like that's going to be the case, because why would you even look for a way to get out? Why would you even explore what opportunity I might have to get out of my contract if you weren't seriously considering it from the very beginning? It's a sad, sad thing for me to hear. I really, really hope they come to terms with this in a positive light and that she doesn't get let go or find a way to be released. And, I mean, because she has a lot left to offer. She is so young. She's got so many years ahead of her. Paige, I hope she gets this resolved. I hope it could be put to rest and we'll see her back in the ring sometime soon, even though all roads seem to be pointing in an opposite direction there. I wanted to talk really quickly about my boy CM Punk. This is another unfortunate thing that we have to talk about, but last night, UFC 203, CM Punk versus Mickey Gall. I did not actually get to see it, but I checked it all out in the morning, and just to know that he lost in the first round within the first few minutes, and when I read into it and I found out how, I mean, I pretty much called it. I called it last week in my other one. I was correct in presuming that he would be overly emotional, and he was probably trying too hard to execute the set game plan that they gave him going in, and he got wrapped up. He got wrapped up by a pro. Not that Punk's not a pro, but this is your first match, and you're going up against a guy that's been doing this for a while. So you're at a disadvantage right off the bat. Nobody really thought CM Punk was going to win this match anyway, and personally, I don't know if he even believed inside he was going to win, because, even Brock Lesnar lost his first UFC match, so I'm not surprised at the outcome. I don't think many people are surprised at the outcome. I just hope that they don't really start to get on him and have some of these fighters and UFC guys on social media start dogging him and whatever, and I can only hope that the WWE and his friends and family over there maybe, are more supportive and less negative and, won't really be trashing such a poor performance, especially if you want to judge it as his first performance. I don't think anybody's first performance ever has really gone well, especially in the UFC. That stuff is brutal, it's violent, and as you can see, sometimes it's over before you even know it. So, again, unfortunately, Mickey Gall defeats CM Punk in his debut, and I can only hope that he picks himself up and finds his way either back into the octagon or back to the WWE, which is a very far stretch right now, being that they're all entangled in legal stuff. But just like with Brett and anybody else, after a while, all wounds heal, and we'll probably see him back one day. I just don't expect it to be anytime soon. I'm seeing online that a lot of people are very, very confused about the decision to remove American Alpha from the World Tag Team Tournament on SmackDown. And I will admit that when it first happened, I was very confused. I, like most people, were under the impression that American Alpha was going to be the inaugural SmackDown Tag Team Champions. But, obviously, that's not going to happen. Because if you watched SmackDown last week, you saw that American Alpha versus the Usos was about to take place, and I think everybody in the arena felt the same way I felt, and I thought we were finally going to get a tag team match in this division that was going to be worth something, that was going to go maybe 20 minutes, end the show, main event, get this tag team thing really kicked off, take it seriously, show you're taking it seriously, and really kick this tournament off with that match, knowing that you're leading into the finals after that match. But American Alpha beat the Usos in 2 minutes. They caught them off guard. They took out the two-time former world champions, the two-time Slammy Award-winning tag team, the Usos, beat clean in less than 2 minutes by the American Alpha. I was extremely disappointed in this outcome right away, and I'm like, I can't believe this. We're having another squash. Another squash match. I'm going to need some kind of a sound effect with that word squash, because I'm saying it too much that I'm tired of saying it, and I'd rather hit a button and have somebody say it in a more amusing manner that you can laugh about it and I can laugh about it, because me talking about squash is driving me crazy. But WWE quickly redeemed itself when they had the Usos just completely bug out. They took out Jason Jordan, they threw him into the corner turnpost, hitting his shoulder, sending him to the floor, and then they proceeded to take out Chad Gable's knee very effectively. They hurt the guy, they put him out, they got their revenge for losing, but as a result, Chad Gable is not cleared to wrestle at Backlash. He has an injury. And don't worry, Hammerheads, it's not a real injury, it's a storyline injury. They're just prolonging the inevitable. American Alpha is going to be your champions, but let me explain to you why this happened. Something unknown happened at the beginning of this thing. Well, at least I believe it to be unknown, but they were taking a chance with this Heath Slater thing, and it got over big. All of a sudden, people are on Heath Slater's side. People want to be Heath's kids. And it's great. It's very entertaining. It's the best thing that he's had to do since he's been there. And then he's got this unlikely pairing with the Man-Beast Rhino. You got this Beauty and the Beast thing going on. And within the last 4 weeks of this tag team tournament, it clicked. And the people got behind this team. So, if you had the Usos advance to the finals... if you had American Alpha advance to the finals as was originally intended by beating the Usos, they would be facing Slater and Rhino. But do you want American Alpha to beat Slater and Rhino? No. Do you want Slater and Rhino to beat American Alpha? No. You don't want either one of these teams to beat the other one. For whatever your reason is, either you like American Alpha or you like Slater, either way, these teams should not be fighting. They're two face teams, two popular teams, and nobody wants to see either one of them lose, especially in a big match situation like that, especially when you're talking about American Alpha. So American Alpha would have had to have won that match, and in a sense, you were going to cost Heath Slater his contract and squash a new and up-and-coming, fresh, different tag team. That would have been terrible. So, with the rise of Slater and Rhino, the WWE, I believe, quickly shifted gears and said, you know what? American Alpha, they're going to be the champs. We know they're going to be the champs. Let's get creative with this right now. Maybe they're listening to those of us out here with a voice on YouTube. Maybe they're just taking a shot in the dark. But either way, I'm all for it. I love the way this turned out. We're going to have the Hype Bros taking on the Usos in a last-minute match to see who fights Slater and Rhino for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. I think if they were smart, they would have Jason Jordan of American Alpha, the one who is not injured, come out and cost the Usos the match. And not the championship match, but the first match versus the Hype Bros. Let the Hype Bros advance to the finals, even though it's from an interference. Who cares? A win's a win. And now you are elevating another tag team because the Hype Bros gets a win. They're in the finals versus Slater and Rhino. Slater and Rhino will win against the Hype Bros. It's not going to hurt them because they're popular as it is. But nobody will care if the Hype Bros lose to Slater and Rhino. People will be up in arms if American Alpha lost to Slater and Rhino. They might even be upset if the Usos lost to Slater and Rhino, unless it was in some kind of upset fashion, because everybody knows the Usos are the best tag team that the company even has on SmackDown. You could say Gallows and Anderson are the best tag team they have as a whole, but the Usos are who they are. They're established veterans. They're solid talents. They are absolutely great at wrestling, and this new attitude hopefully continues, and they get more and more evil, and they do tricks, and they try to cheat to win, and be tricky, evil little Samoan bastards, and I think it'll work just fine. And then what you can have happen is, you have, like I said, Jordan costs him the match, Hype Bros go on, Slater and Rhino win, and then you have the Usos come out a couple of weeks from now, maybe on SmackDown, whatever. They challenge and take the titles off of Slater and Rhino, and then you can begin to build the Usos and the vengeance angle of American Alpha. That's just how I see it. I want to give the WWE a firm round of applause, because that's thinking outside the box. That is creative thinking. That's doing something different, doing something that most people will not expect and that a lot of people will be behind. And you're going to give us a great moment tonight, I believe, if they do it that way. It's also quite possible they could turn around and just make the Usos win this whole thing and then continue Heath Slater trying to get a contract, which would be dumb, because that's run its course. Let's just get this over with. I like the whole Beauty and the Beast with him and Rhino. They don't have to stay a tag team, but they should, because they need tag teams, and I think it's beneficial to both characters because they have stuff to do with each other. They'll have matches. I think Rhino will get lost in the shuffle as a singles competitor right now, as well as Heath Slater will just relegate back to that one-man bullshit thing that nobody cared about and that nobody ever was interested in. The whole one-man band, the 3MB, it was just the worst. But now he's found something that's working, and I want it to continue. And I wish him the best of luck, and I hope that they win it tonight. It'll be great. Other than that, Backlash, I don't even know what else is left. And I don't care enough to even look into it. It's that with the second tag team match that was added, that will make it 6 matches for tonight, I believe. And you got 3 hours. 3 hours to fill with television. With only 6 matches, either we're going to get a lot of impromptu matches. There's a rumor going around that Cena might show up in some fashion. I don't know. But I don't know how they're going to fill 3 hours with 5 or 6 matches, unless they have a whole bunch of stupid vignettes in store for us, which I hope is not the case. I hope that they give us the best that they possibly can. And maybe when I do the review, I'm going to be giving them a standing ovation and more applause. These are the sounds I hope to hear when I play my review. Or we could very much get more bad news. But hopefully that's not the case. Listen, guys, thank you again for tuning in to the channel. Make sure, if you haven't already, you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Tell your friends, your wrestling fan buddies, tell everybody you know about the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show and the Nightmare Room, exclusively here on YouTube.com. Don't forget to visit us there each and every week. New content constantly being put up. We have the Raw and SmackDown reviews, which are airing first always on Podbean as an audio podcast, and then we're always following that up with a video release on YouTube so you could listen to us there. I like to also have it available as audio only, because I know a lot of you guys might like to listen to me while you're out traveling and you're not sitting home, you're sitting on a bus or you're sitting on a train and you got your old pal Nick Nightmare in your ear giving you everything you need to know about the world of pro wrestling. I love you guys so much, my Sledgehead Army. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. Don't forget, if you want to pledge your support, to check us out at patreon.com. Also, show your support just by watching through the videos completely so that we can raise our funds, get our cash level up, and we can make this show the absolute best it could possibly be. Thank you, guys. You're the best. Don't forget to tune into the Raw review this week, and, more importantly, the Backlash review coming at you tomorrow. Keep an eye out for it. Don't forget to come back and watch. Always a pleasure, guys. I'll talk to you later.